RWBY Volume 5 premiere, and welcome to Haven. Now, this episode I had to wait a couple days to see because I'm not a first member, but it was definitely a fun episode. It was almost a half-hour episode, which was great. I know not to expect that every single time. Every time it happens at the premiere, I'm like, oh, we're gonna have half-hour, episodes, and that's never the case. It's just like special episodes are half-hour or almost half-hour episodes. But definitely a good premiere. We get to see all the girls and what they're doing, even if it's like small glimpses. Naturally, it focuses mostly on RWBY, and there are quite a few characters around her, so it makes sense to focus on Team Ranger. I still want to say Team Junior. Every time I think about it, I'm like, I want to just say Team Junior because I still feel like that makes the most sense. Team Ranger plus Qrow. And, we get to see their journey, what exactly is going on with them meeting Lionheart, who I didn't realize that was his name. So going into this, as soon as they said it, I was like, oh, he's the Cowardly Lion. At some point, he will find his courage, and he will realize what he's doing is going to betray all the heroes. He'll do something good, and he'll be one of the good guys again. Considering where the series is at this point, that might get him killed. That's honestly what I thought. I was like, okay, he's the Cowardly Lion. He'll do something courageous. Series been dark lately. He might die from that. So, I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there because it was like the instant story. I was like, if this was like, Volume 1 or Volume 2, I'd be like, okay, he'll realize what he's doing is wrong and everything will be great. That'll probably get him killed. I just don't know. That might not be the case. But it's like, I don't know. It's been dark lately, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was definitely a good episode. We're getting to see, exactly what was going on with everybody. We get to see Weiss have a pretty interesting moment. Of course, this kind of piggybacking off of some of the stuff that she went through in the last volume, where she realizes what it basically means to care about human life. And I thought that was a great scene where she's, on this ship, and it's, her and this pilot, and they get this distress signal where people are, dying and they're being swarmed by Grimm. And she's like, we're going to help them, aren't we? And it was like, I'm trying to avoid them. Like, no, like, it's just not going to happen. It's like, unfortunately, my ship, my rules. And so, they keep going. And that's kind of in her head where she's this different person than she used to be. Even though she's still the prim and proper Weiss, she does care about other people. She wants to actually help make the world a better place now. So I thought that was a great moment. That was like her one sequence, unfortunately, in the premiere. But it was really good. And it was like I said, just kind of taking something that we saw in that scene when she was at the gala in the last volume and just, kind of reiterating that, like, this is a different version of this character. She's gone through the worst moment of her life, and she left her family behind because she knew that they sucked, and it was time for her to move on and be a better human being. So, thought that was great. Seeing what's going on with Blake. Blake meeting up with her friend Ilana, I always say her name wrong, Ileana. That was cool. I knew that character was going to be important. Naturally, she was basically half of Blake's character short, so we knew that she was going to be a very relevant character. And all she was trying to do is basically say, look, you can't prove anything. Like, the two guys that, come to the house and everything is like, you can't prove any of this. You just can't prove it. And, her working for the White Fang and those guys, doing what they do for the White Fang, she's trying to do everything she can to help Blake leave, pretty much, which I find so interesting. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most, because I knew that was going to be their dynamic. Whereas, like, they were clearly very close friends in the past, and now they're going to basically be rivals. So that should be fun to watch. It should be fun to watch that relationship kind of play out, throughout this volume. So definitely looking forward to that. But of course, she shows up and is like, this is how things are going to play out. And Blake's like, you can't stop me, or you're going to have to, you have to basically fight me to stop me. And she was just like, I know. And she just left and was like, this sucks. Like, I don't want to fight my friend, one of my best friends. And you can tell they used to be like best friends. So I thought that was pretty cool. They had the great moment with Sun and I suck at names, so I still can't remember like Blake's dad's name. But them finally agreeing on something, and her mom being like, well, at least you guys, agree on something. So I thought that was a funny little sequence. But, we get to see Blake doing her thing. Yang had an epic moment. She's looking cool. I mentioned this for those of you who may not have watched my character short for her. I love her design in this season. They technically changed the duster. They basically never used it because it was a full jacket duster. I remember that. And she technically never really wore it. I think she wore it like one time. Once, maybe twice, but we never technically saw like that version of the duster from like the old, like the art from the last volume. So she has like a different type of jacket, but it's still kind of a duster. It's like split, it's a duster, so it's split down the middle. But it looks really cool. And she has like hints of her old costume, like the bright orange around her collar. I was like, okay, that's really cool to keep that like bright orange aesthetic in there in a small facet. And like just her little sequence was actually great. Like, she goes to this place. The guy says like, aren't you a little young to drink, so definitely referencing her very first appearance in her original trailer, so that was really cool. And she takes her glass off and is like, water, it's cold, or it's hot outside. He's like, oh, okay. So he gives her the drink, this guy is bugging her, and he goes for the hair, naturally, and she just looks, she grabs the hand and just looks right at him with the red eyes, and he freaks out, and I realize now why he freaked out, because at the end he knew who Raven was, because when he got up, he was smiling. He was like, I heard you were looking for somebody. So he's probably one of the bandits, and he knows who Raven is. So as soon as he saw the red, he's like, oh, I'm about to get hurt. And of course, Yang didn't even take the time. She was just like, nope. Socked him straight in his face, knocked his tooth clean out. Hilarious scene, too, because I mentioned when I saw the trailer, it was like the actual season trailer, when she punched that guy, I was like, she could kill him. Like, she's already strong enough, and now she has a metallic robot arm that she's punching him with, and it was just so funny. Like, him doing, like, the pinball thing, and he's bouncing around. He, like, literally bounces out and then, like, sideways. I was like, that was actually great. I love that sequence. And she kind of just keeps going, and, she's basically, like, in the outskirts. She's in this random location. Not going towards RWBY like I thought she was. I think, like, a lot of us probably assumed she was at the end of the last volume. But she's actually going more towards her mother. So the guy mentions, like, there's really no one out here, of note, really. And he's about to say, Raven's name, and she says it, and it's like, oh, crap, like, she knows who Raven is. So she takes off, and that's where we get the guy, saying, like, I hear you're looking for somebody. He smiles. Excuse me. And that's pretty much the end of, Yang's story for this episode. So, that's where she's headed, which I can't wait to see how that plays out, because Raven is danger wrapped inside of an enigma at this point. I just don't know what to expect from that character, to be totally honest. So excited for that interaction. And then of course we have like our main story, which is, like I said, Team Junior, or Team Ranger, sorry, plus Qrow. They meet Lionheart, and we find out that sequence is actually before Qrow ended up meeting with Oscar slash Ozpin. So I thought that was actually cool, because I just assumed it was after. And it's like, nope, that was actually before. And so, he goes to get a drink and he meets him. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool how they did that. And then, Oscar ends up going to the rest of the team. And that's where we get super, super drunk Qrow. Like, I like to assume he's always drunk, even though he's always drinking. I assume he's always drunk. That was mega drunk. So, Oscar introduces himself as like, you guys might know me as Ozpin. And Qrow in the background was hilarious. He's like laughing like I found him. And then I think it was like right before, he was like, my name is Oscar, and then you could hear Qrow in the background like, wait for it, and I thought that was really funny. And he's like, you guys might know me as Professor Ozpin. So definitely a cool way to kind of end things out. It was, very simple, just, the characters have met. It was legitimately just the opening showing like what is happening, basically setting up the basic journey of all these characters, like their first interactions, their first moments. Weiss having like her first moment of this season, at least, being this new version of her character, Yang having these first two interactions, and us now knowing exactly where she's located within Haven, and then of course Blake and her interacting with her former, one of her former best friends, and then of course the whole team and what they're dealing with as far as not knowing what's going on with Lionheart and the whole the relic not being guarded, and then we have a huge chunk of information about the Summer Maiden, which I like, or was it, no, Spring Maiden, sorry. That kind of blew my mind. I just assumed they were looking because this is like, someone died, we need the next one. I didn't know that they were talking this whole time. It's like, yeah, we need to find this person because they left. It wasn't like this person died, we need to find the new version of that person. They left. They left. This person has like their full power, who we see in the opening. I have to assume that was her. And that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, that is not what I thought was going to happen with this story. I thought they were finding someone who had no idea what was going on with their powers, or, who they really were. And it was like, nope, this is someone who had the training, at least a little bit, and then they're like, it just became too much for them, and they just took off. And now they've joined up with Raven. I was like, oh, there's just so much destruction that I feel can come from that, but that entertains me a lot, just the concept of that. So that's kind of one of the biggest stories for this season as well, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Naturally, the opening was great. Love the song. Love some of the lyrics of the song. Even in the very beginning, it seemed like kind of what they were saying is that they were kind of going back to what the show used to be a little bit, which I certainly noticed, and I talked about this a lot in the Yang character trailer, the way some of the action looked and the visuals for the action, the way the camera was moving. I was like, this feels like the first two volumes compared to, or the first 3 volumes really, compared to the last volume, because it was such a different version of what the show is. And this seems like it's going back a little bit, in the best way possible, to what the show once was. And of course, you know, Team RWBY is actually reuniting at some point. So, great opening. Love this song. Love the visuals as well, like showing the girls and then they like burst into like petals and stuff. That I thought looked great for the opening. I was like, that just looks really cool. Lots of interesting interactions. We will see which of those interactions come true. I'm tired of seeing stuff that entertains me and then it never happens. They did that last volume with the Blake Adam thing and they never fought or even saw each other, barely even really talked about each other. So I'm like, I've decided to no longer just assume that those interactions are guaranteed or actually a part of the story. It's just cool stuff in the opening. I will be doing like an actual analysis of the opening for this volume, and I'll also be doing live reaction videos for the volume. I will be doing them basically when they premiere on YouTube, so it'll basically be like every week when the new episode premieres, I'll be doing a live reaction, basically like a secondary reaction to the last week's episode as like sort of an in-depth analysis before I go into the newest episode to kind of be like, okay, this is probably something I missed, or this is just a scene I really wanted to talk about. So it'll be like a bit more in-depth because you actually see exactly what I'm talking about instead of me just going through like the story elements. I'll just be like, oh, that joke I would probably totally forget in the review. You'll see that during the reaction. So that's something that I'll be starting up. That'll probably be out, I guess for this episode, that will probably be out Sunday or even Monday, because I have to, it'll probably be like right when I get to watch the newest episode, which is, I believe, on Mondays, or maybe even Tuesday. I can't even remember. I think it was out yesterday. I could have seen this episode. I don't remember. I know it's a couple of days after the first members. But either way, when I'm able to watch the newest episode, that's basically when it'll upload. So I'll know that for sure. But for this one, it'll probably be up either Sunday or Monday will be my, like, basically second viewing reaction. So if you guys want to check that out, please do. I would greatly appreciate it. I will also be doing, I'm basically going like full RWBY mode for the rest of the year. I'm going to be starting up RWBY Grim Eclipse in 2 weeks. Yeah, in 2 weeks, or no, in a week. Next week, I'm going to be starting up RWBY Grim Eclipse. I decided to officially do that because I've been holding off on playing that game for such a long time. And it's like, you know, at this point, it's time to do it. The new volume has started. I can just have more RWBY all the time. It'll kind of satiate me in between just thinking about it. Also, I'll be able to just talk even more about the latest episode and stuff. I'll try not to do spoilers when I'm doing that for people who haven't seen it, but I'll definitely be doing that starting next week, so definitely look forward to that if you guys are interested. Like I said, the secondary reaction will definitely be coming up, and I will also be doing a full analysis video for the actual opening, which will also probably come out next Sunday, or this Sunday, or next Monday for sure. So those 2 videos, the reaction and the analysis for the opening, will be out Sunday or Monday, and then the RWBY Grim Eclipse will be out next Thursday. That's when I do my gaming videos. I start, it's either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Sometimes Sunday if things are just like going crazy, but typically it's like 1 video each day. So it'll be Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I'll do RWBY Thursday just because it'll be like the first episode of that. I'll make sure that's the first gaming video that I upload next Thursday. So I look forward to that. Naturally, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. Would love to know your theories for this volume. Naturally, just what you guys want to see. We've gotten quite a bit of content so far, at least. I always go by the trailer and the opening, or like my 2 things as far as like story elements. I don't know how much I can do that anymore because, like I said, the interaction stuff is a big chunk of what I assume the story is going to be, and then a lot of times interactions never happen. That's been since like volume 2, where characters will show up and it's like that character didn't even happen to appear in that volume, like they did with Junior and the twins in volume 2. They never show up. Sun's team technically does show up. The whole team is there. But it's like a giant aerial shot, and there's no actual dialogue with the other 2 members. Like with, I can't think of their names at all right now. It's been forever since we've seen them, so I suck with names in general. So if I don't see you for like 2 seasons, or even a full season, it's like, I just forgot. I'm going to have to Google it. But I am looking forward to what we're going to be getting for this volume. Without it, I'm always looking forward to it. But it seems like things are kind of headed back to where they used to be. Team RWBY is reuniting at some point. I don't think they'll actually fight Salem, even though that was in the opening. I really don't think that's actually going to happen, because with her being like the main villain, maybe we will see a fight. I don't know. It's really hard to say. They even have like a big chunk of the opening as well is in this one location. Like they have, it's like Nora and Ren fighting against like the really buff dude who seems to be able to like block stuff with his skin, but everybody can do that technically, so I don't know. He doesn't use weapons. But they have that in there, and of course the girls fighting against Salem. They have Yang versus Mercury. I really hope that actually does happen. I want to see them fight again, because we need to see that. I want to see Emerald in general. I want her to be there. I believe Neo's supposed to officially be back in this volume, so I definitely hope that's the case. Maybe we get an answer on what happened with Roman. Is he really dead? Is he really alive? They put him in RWBY Chibi enough to like taunt us with it, so I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But like I said, enjoyed this premiere. Cannot wait for the next episode. Would love to know what you guys thought about this episode, and of course your theories and just what you want to see in general, whether it's been hinted at, not hinted at, just what you guys want to see regardless of anything. What do you want to see for this season? So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Like I said, look forward to all the RWBY stuff that I have planned on for this Sunday or Monday, and definitely next Thursday if you guys are interested. And of course, thanks for watching.